The Natalie State Forest Campground is located in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, just a few miles west of Newberry, on the Dollarville Flooding area. When you first enter the campground, you come across a couple of the campsites before you ever hit the billboard for camp registration, and the campground itself is laid out on one large loop that is surrounded by the flooding. Some of the campsites are on the inside of the loop, but almost all of the campsites that are along the outside edge of the loop are backed by the flooding area. The fact that you're surrounded by the flooding is a cause for concern in the summertime, as there are reports of a large number of mosquitoes and ticks that hang out in the campground. At the registration station, there is a drop box with envelopes where you pay $20 a night for your stay here at the campground. There is one running water spigot, so there is not hand pump water available, and the spigot itself runs continuously. I actually tried to shut it off, but the spigot was stuck to the running position and must sit there and run all summer long. I'm going to walk through the campground here and we will check out some of the sites. Again, most of these sites are backed by the flooding area, and immediately off the back of these sites is a more dry, mossy area, and then farther out you walk, the more wet and swampy it becomes until eventually you are in unpassable, swampy, watery areas. The campsites themselves do have a fire ring and a picnic table, and there is one vault toilet at the back of the campground and one vault toilet towards the front of the campground. At the very front of the campground, there is a wooden garbage box to throw your garbage, not a large dumpster like you see in most campgrounds throughout the UP. This tells me that there is not a very large animal problem within this campground, just the mosquitoes and ticks. Also, from the campground, you have access to a large parking area where you have a boat launch to launch into the flooding area to do fishing or waterfowl hunting, as this is a very popular area for waterfowl hunters. You have a billboard labeling the different waterfowl species you may see here, and you have a nice boardwalk that is public and wheelchair accessible. And along this railing here on the back side, you'll notice, I'll pan around in a second, there is actually a label that you can slide left or right, as there are duck hunting blinds out here, and hikers and visitors may want to know if there are duck hunters out here currently with firearms. So they attach that little sign to warn the public if there are duck hunters in the area. It was a beautiful calm morning here, so I decided to take the drone out and fly it around the flooding. I was really hoping to see some wildlife out in here, just a few ducks flying around. But regardless of the lack of wildlife, this is still a really beautiful view from up in the air. I think this would be a really neat area to explore in a kayak and get lost out in the maze of water that you have out here that just seems to extend forever. Overall, I think this is an excellent early spring and fall campground, and I would just make sure that if you visit in the summer, you bring extra bug spray as a precaution.